Yo, this is Charlie Murphy, and you are watching Nardwuar's Video Vault. Got a lot of videos in there. Some of them is rated X. We'll get around to that later. But it's a vault. It's filled with videos. Nardwuar, he owns it. Bitch.
Nardwuar. 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 Nardwuar.
Who are you?
I'm Charlie Murphy. And who are you?
And I'm Nardwuar, the human serviette.
The human serviette, Charlie Murphy, on a rooftop.
In Vancouver, British Columbia, Canada.
Where they have very good marijuana.
Mr. Sammy Davis.
That's right. The Candyman himself.
That was on The Kid Who Loved Christmas?
Loves Christmas, that's right.
And that was Sammy Davis Jr.'s last movie ever? What was that like?
This movie, man, it was for me, it was awesome. You know, I actually was awesome to a flaw because I was so happy that it was Sammy Davis Jr. that I was like, it's Sammy. And Sammy was, you know, he was sick. So I think I was a nuisance. Like, who's this bubbly guy that keeps coming around looking at me and going, that's Sammy, oh yeah. And he was feeling horrible.
And it was the last scene in the movie, too, that you were in, too, where, like, you're smiling. It was, like, really great, the end of the movie.
The end of the movie, Charlie Murphy smiling.
The Kid Who Loved Christmas. And there was a hamster in that movie called Molly. Do you remember that? There was a hamster called Molly.
It was, man.
And I guess I was wondering, Eddie Murphy put a hamster in one of his other movies. Did you have a hamster growing up called Molly?
No, because, you know, we realize that hamsters are actually mice with afros. People think they're pets and they have them in their houses, but the reality is a hamster, gerbil, a guinea pig, all those is rats with fur coats on. It's the same thing. You know, you want to act like it's not what it is. If you think I'm joking, just let him loose in your house and see if he doesn't burrow into the wall and start doing rat-like things.
Charlie Murphy, I mentioned your movie career, but you also have and had a rap career. What can you tell me about the K9 Posse?
Like we're doing slides now. Look, because Sammy, and now we go to K9. And the first thing I want to show everyone, funny that you brought this up.
No, this is your rap combo.
Look right here. Look what it says right there. Executive producer, Charlie Murphy. See? I produced it. I wrote on it. You know what I'm saying? I just didn't rap. I wish I would have rapped. You know, but we had a lot of fun doing K9.
Charlie Murphy, sweat on my...
balls.
Sweat on my balls. You're...
CB4.
CB4. There we go, to the CB4.
Another one.
Another slide for you.
Murphy's had a very colorful and illustrious career. As you see, we're up to slide number 3. And all of this stuff is big. Come on, man. Gets no better. Let's put the Candyman in front.
Well, back to the CB4, though. When you auditioned for CB4, is it true that you showed up with a gun with bullets?
Yes. And I'm not saying anyone else should do that, but this is why it happened. I went in and I did the normal audition, and Chris Rock called me up that night and said, that was excellent. Now, tomorrow when you coming back for the callback, I only have one suggestion to you. I said, what's that? He said, I want you to be even meaner than you was today. And I was like, wow, to myself, that was pretty mean. How are you going to top that? I said, well, I guess I'm going to have to put bullets in the gun for real this time. So the next day I went in with a loaded 9mm. It wasn't loaded. I popped the clip in front of them. They let them see it was bullets. Popped the clip in, jacked it, and then pointed it at Chris Rock, which was very crazy. But I did that. I don't know if Chris Rock knew the gun was loaded. And I would have never, you know. Well, I'm just glad nothing bad happened. I got the role, you know.
Charlie Murphy, another record for you right here. You worked with Red
Foxx. This guy, you got to give me this whole bag when this is over. I want to keep this whole bag of records. You got everybody here. Red Foxx, this is the funniest man that I ever met in my life, bar none, okay? When I met him on Harlem Nights, and he was like, you know, he was older, so he was like a grandfather figure. And I like, you know, sitting down and talking with old men, because old men got a lot of stories. So I have a friend named Woody, who, since he was about 10 years old, he had one rotten tooth right here in the front. So cut to me and Woody, we're now 24, 25 years old. This tooth has been black for 15 years. And I introduced him to Red Foxx, and when he smiled, Red Foxx did 45 minutes of stand-up on his black tooth. And the very next day, Woody got his tooth fixed. That's a true story.
Charlie Murphy, is it true that Mr. Chappelle knocked out a bull?
Well, you talking about TMZ? Okay, now I'm gonna put it to you this way. We went to the running of the bulls. I know you've seen it before. They released all the bulls, and the bull was getting ready to run Dave over. Dave Colcock knocked him out cold. I know you don't want to believe it, but you got to add this to it. He was. I'm not to say that he wasn't scared. He was horrified when he did it. So it was a lot of fear in that punch, but scored a KO. Big up for Dave.
Charlie Murphy, what do you think your greatest hip-hop moment is? May I put this forth? When you were...
I'll tell you right now, my greatest hip-hop moment came 3 weeks ago in Boulder, Colorado, when I was on stage with none other than the God MC, Rakim. And that was incredible, man, yeah.
I guess I was going to say when you were on the air with 50 Cent and Eminem and Woo Kid. You were on a radio show.
On the radio, though, that's different. That was a great moment. But I was actually on the stage like this with Rakim, so that had to be number one.
When you're up on stage, are you able to see who's in the audience? Didn't Al Gore come to one of your gigs? Did you see Al Gore in the audience?
What did happen in one of my shows was I used to have this joke about Dick Cheney around the time when Dick Cheney had shot one of his friends on a hunting trip. And it was a funny joke. I don't actually remember exactly how it went, but I was doing this joke every week. Then we did a show in D.C., and when the show was over, this guy walked up and said, "Hey, Charlie, great set. Secret Service. I work for Dick." And I was like, "Yeah, oh, really?" I'm not telling that joke no more.
Ba-boom.
Ba-boom, yeah.
Charlie Murphy, what do you think about Sarah Palin's jeans? Why do you like Sarah Palin's jeans?
They fit right. See, you always got to respect a woman with a pair of jeans on that fit right. And she don't got a, coat tied around her butt. You ever seen Sarah Palin with a coat tied around her butt? No, she has it out. That's what's up.
Charlie Murphy, you have a character called Leroy Smith?
Leroy Smith, yeah. And then you can go check Leroy out on www.getyourbasketballon.com. It's a Nike site. You will have fun on the site, and you will be laughing because, yes, Charlie Murphy is appearing as Leroy Smith, and it was very funny stuff. I had a blast doing it. And big up to Nike. Let's do some more, That's what's up.
What I was curious about is you love the old school comedians, don't you, Charlie?
You have to. If you want to be in the line, you have to know. You have to memorize and know the history of the line you're standing in. So yeah, definitely.
So you have Leroy Smith. I was wondering, were you perhaps influenced for that character by Leroy Daniels, Sex Mouth?
This is hilarious, man. This is Red Foxx. This dude right here was really tight with Red.
He was on Sanford and Son. Leroy.
He was really tight.
Because Leroy Daniels, Leroy Smith, Charlie Murphy.
I wasn't. There's no relation. There's no relation, no connection. But wow, where'd you get these albums from? These are to a comedian, this is priceless stuff, man. Priceless.
I love the Laugh record label, too. Do you know many artists on the Laugh record label? Laugh is a great record label.
Yeah, man. It doesn't exist anymore, but it was nice. These are all the records that when I was a kid, they were in the drawer with the rest of the records, but you knew that if you touched one of these and got caught playing it, you was getting your ass whipped, My parents would always say, "We better never catch you playing none of those records." And, as a result, me and my brothers memorized every one of these records. We memorized them,
Charlie Murphy, what is trickle down P*******Y?
AKA trickle down pussy, okay? That's what happens when you're around somebody that has too much on their plate, see? See, when you have too much on your plate, some of it's going to fall off. And if someone has the wherewithal to be standing under your plate with a net, they're going to catch it. Same thing with pussy. If somebody has all these girls, he only can be with one of them at a time, okay? So if you're smart enough to be standing around, you just wait for somebody to get bored, and what are you waiting in line for? Come on, I can do you right now. Bingo, trickle down pussy.
Well, thanks so much, Charlie Murphy. Keep on rocking in the free world, and doot-doodaloo-doo.
Doot. We work pretty good together. We should have our own show. We do a lot of little ad-libbing stuff here.
Oh, that'll be amazing. Well, thanks so much.
Yeah, let's get another one of the slideshow. Mr. Hot Pants. CB4. All classics. If you haven't gotten these, I suggest you go to a vintage record store, pick these up, because this is the shit.
And this is Charlie Murphy.
With the Candyman.
And bonus toot toots. Doot-doot-loot-doo.
Doot.
Ah.